didn't win MVP because he fucking fell apart in September. Because the season was over. They didn't care.
Well, luckily we don't have to worry about it this time. This guy, this shit matters.
I've looked at this before. I'm gonna pull it up again. Hold on.
We're let's get into the show.
Okay.
This is new. We're getting rounded corners. None of this shit.
There's been an update. I like
that.
That one's good. Yeah.
The rounded corners.
Rounded corners, but big. Yeah.
I feel like it's safe for us. Sharp things can hurt us.
Yeah. We can't have
no sharp objects around us.
No sharp objects.
Episode 396. Steven and Vin are here. We're going straight to Flushing.
That's where we're going.
We're going to go talk about the congratulations to Francisco Lindor on now has 69 extra base hits this year. Very nice season for him.
A lot. It's very nice. Now, he can't stop at that, though.
Right. You need to continue, sir.
I mean, they don't score unless he does something. That's just an absolute. Unless he's in the middle of it, they don't score runs. That's just a fact. And while this is the first year he's getting real MVP consideration, this has been the truth pretty much since he walked in the door. Like, even in 2022 when they were really good, a lot of it was centered around him producing offense. And it was Pete also, but the two of them were always in the middle of it.
Get through. Screw up. Yeah.
He screwed up?
Huh. The Red Sox made an error in Queens. I haven't seen that before.
All right, well,
in a different building.
I'm a whole pitch behind you, so let me just see what kind of mess up they do here.
Maybe if you don't have your fucking oven mitt in your pocket when you're fielding, dumbass.
Oh, what are you gonna do?
Why does every team have like a jacked pitching coach? Except for us. We have
fucking hef, man.
String bean. Do we think I was going to ask you this to start the show anyway, because this is the debate, of course. And that the American League, you already gave the MVP to Aaron Judge. It's already over for the most part. The Royals are falling apart. If anything,
I think Judge is going to win it regardless, but Bobby Wood is also really good.
So the debate is Lindor, Ohtani, ideally. Pretty much. I love what, and I'm not just saying it because he was our coach, but Buck Showalter said Lindor can go on the field and make or break a game. He makes one bad throw, the game you can lose 100 games if he makes 100 errors. Ohtani, if he goes over 4, the rest of the team can be fine.
Yes.
So my question is, now that both leagues have a DH spot, and we've seen it so far that teams are signing players to basically be the designated hitter. Say that 5 times fast. Should they not be considered? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the right way to word this.
I mean, it's basically just comes down to what do you consider their value? And I wouldn't say I'm big, but I dig into the WAR and all that stuff. Not some people do, some people don't, whatever. If you look at a comparison of the two of them, Lindor is slightly better, right, on an overall basis.
Right.
Now, the fact that Ohtani is putting up a similar wins above replacement value, doing it only offensively, could be an argument for him. The fact that he only is limited to just doing that, and he is still providing, estimatedly a similar value.
It is hilarious that his season this year is like the 11th best season of Barry Bonds' career.
I mean, well, that's one. I mean, you can look at Barry Bonds'.
Listen, we've never seen a 50-50 guy.
No,
and we're about to.
It's crazy, and I honestly think, like,
what's up, James?
If it's Acuna that did this, would he be getting the same recognition? Probably. He got a lot of recognition last year.
Did he? He won the MVP.
MVP last year, and he was 40. I think he stole
70, 80,
70, something crazy.
He definitely hit 70 at least.
So yeah, I don't think it's just an Ohtani thing. I just think we haven't seen offensive numbers like this. Now, the other argument is there is an award that is the best offensive player in the league. It's the Hank Aaron Award. And then there's the MVP. And if you're looking at value, if Mookie Betts is healthy the whole season, I think this is a whole completely different conversation. One, he's probably in the MVP conversation. And two, the numbers he was putting up before he got hurt, and the numbers I don't know how he's done since he got back, but like it would
41 and 73 for Acuna last year.
It would put a chunk, it would take a chunk out of Ohtani's MVP argument. Not to say that Freddie Freeman isn't unbelievable, but the fact that you would have three guys like that instead of two, it's
also what's the regular Dodger lineup? Betts,
I
Ohtani,
think they
Freeman?
go Betts, Ohtani, Freeman. Yes, if I'm not mistaken.
So now the argument becomes when you look at the guys surrounding him, right? Which could also play a factor, right? Who surrounds you? Which three would you rather? Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, or basically Harrison Bader and Brendan Nimmo?
I mean, it's not even close. I'm taking the guys that have won, they've all won MVPs.
And it's nothing against Bader or Nimmo. That's just the lineup we have to put out there.
Correct.
Think about it. We've had for how long until, what was it, mid-May? Lindor was our 2 or 3 hitter.
Yeah, he was hitting third pretty much consistently up until May, June, whatever
since we got him, though.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's another thing that the Lindor conversation has been one, we've had since he got here. You started this conversation off air when you said, we got a guy who's finally playing like the guy he was before we got him, right? We got a star.
We got the guy we traded for.
We got the guy we traded for or the guy we acquired, right? Free agent trade, whatever. And I, of course, said it's 2006 Carlos Beltran is a very similar thing. He had a very bad.
We hope he doesn't fall off in September. And
I pulled the numbers up. I just want to say, going into September, he had 39 home runs going to September. He hit, and he never broke.
And he didn't break the record. No,
he hit 41 for the season. He hit 2 in September. He had a 191 batting average in September. That team stopped caring in September. They were so far ahead.
But what was his numbers in October?
Like in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm. Because if I know the MVP is voted for before the playoffs, and I understand that, of course. Mm-hmm. It's a regular season award.
Correct.
But if you're gonna say, oh, he's fell off to end the season, and that's why he lost the MVP, but still, like if they ended up going to the World Series, is he the MVP of?
We know what he did in the to end the series. So in the Dodgers series, again, he wasn't really needed. It was a 3-game sweep. He went 2 for 9 with an RBI and a stolen base. In that Cardinal series, he went 8 for 27, which is 296 average. He had 3 homers, drove in 4 runs. So he was very good in that Cardinal series. It's just it didn't end the way it needed to end.
Right.
And we know, part of the reason he got the money he got was the postseasons he had in the past. So he wasn't the
Right. And
dominant.
it's not his fault the team never went back to the postseason with him as a man.
To be fair, he did his job in 06, in 07 and 08. He was on the field and very good both those seasons. He wasn't as good as he was in 06. It was slight steps back both years, but it was still an elite player. So going back to Lindor, I was always under the way I explained it is he was never going to win MVP. Because even if you go back and look at the Cleveland years where he was probably the leader of that team, an MVP quality player, he was never the best offensive player on those teams. Jose Ramirez was always a better offensive player. He was never the focal point. He was the one or two guy, and they always, they cobbled things together. They had Carlos Santana and they had Jose Ramirez, and they traded for Jay Bruce and whatever. But they did things a little differently than most teams. So the fact that he's having the offensive season he's having now is obviously it's great to see, but I have to say it's surprising. The last 2 seasons he's finished top 10 in MVP voting in National League. He's been
Lindor.
Yes, he's been worth. In my opinion, he's been worth every penny. But again, I go back to value. He definitely is more valuable to the Mets than Ohtani is to the Dodgers. But I still think Ohtani is going to win the award. It's unfortunate. He's going to win the award.
Almost blew the game.
Almost blew the game or did blow the game?
Catch up.
Okay. Can I tell you? Oh, no, you're in the chat. You know that I called him Jerry's Familia. I forgot. I didn't say that on air, but...
that was, by the way, that's the last gray jersey I own. Jerry's Familia.
Yeah? I think I had a blue one. I did have a blue one.
I don't know. We got to go find that dumpster. And
gotta go to the TGI Fridays dumpster on the Turnpike. That's where it was. You gotta think, like, the next person who went and threw out the garbage that day was like, what the fuck is this?
And has a great blue Jerry's Familia.
It was a Chinese knockoff one, too. So if they kept it, good for them. I mean, whatever.
That's what I got. That's what I ordered today.
Yeah.
So, listen, I'm just happy he's got hits tonight and he's been on base because since I bought the jersey, he's been on base. That's all that matters.
2 hits, yeah. This is just not going well.
Jerry's Familia is not pitching well. We need him to start coming out to the song like Familia did.
Yeah, I think it's just not.
Imagine the lights Familia would have got if Steve Cohen was
the lights going on. Unbelievable.
He'd probably still be the closer.
He probably still be. That's another guy, man. I went to bat for that guy. Definitely didn't work out.
Listen, Lindor, it's not a homer saying, but he deserves it. And I sent the clip of Michael early in the season saying Lindor's going to earn it this year. And he should be at least a 3, top 3, right? Listen, you're going to get Ohtani next year coming back and going to the mound. Then it becomes what is it? Are you giving him a Cy Young? Are you giving him an MVP? I don't think he's won both in a season. Right?
No, I don't think he hasn't really. And I hate to say this,
I don't think he's been a good pitcher.
No, he hasn't been the elite offensive player that he's been this year and last year, combined with the elite pitching season. Last year he was an awesome pitcher, but I'm sorry. Last year he was an awesome hitter, but he got hurt in the pitching wise too early in the season.
So in 22, he finished second in MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And he finished 4th in Cy Young.
Right.
So that was probably his most dominant season. If you want to look at them,
Correct. 22 offensively.
If you want to look at the season where he had his best numbers together, those are the
correct. So the other thing is the injuries. If you
He's
look
never had a top 5 Cy Young other than that one year.
outside of that, right? He's only
And the only reason he didn't win
that-
MVP that year, the only reason why he didn't win MVP that year was because Judge hit 75,000 home runs.
that he didn't win MVP, correct, in 2022.
He would have probably won MVP if Judge isn't hitting 62 home runs.
It's hard to say this just because what he does is so crazy. He in 2021 and 2023, he was. You look at these numbers; they're not Cy Young numbers, but they're ace numbers. And they're very, very good numbers. I don't know if he's ever going to make enough starts to win a Cy Young. That's the only thing. Like, will they be okay with him winning it with 28? He makes 28 starts, he'll be able to do it. Who won the Cy Young this year that had better numbers than this?
Verlander won the
Cy Young. Verlander had a 1.75. Okay.
That was the year Verlander literally got paid by us because of his...
Yeah, he didn't deserve to win the Cy Young, but he was very good.
It's funny because the White Sox pitcher was on that list.
No. And I've said this since they signed him. Coming back from a second Tommy John is not easy. It's
coming back from a Tommy John isn't easy. Look at Matt Allen. Look at our prospect, Matt Allen. He was the number one pitching prospect on the team going into 2018, 2019.
But even it's become, I'm gonna say 98%. 98 is high. 80% routine. You come back from Tommy John. Now we saw the problems a guy like Wheeler had. Wheeler, it was a combination of issues that he had. But he had that Tommy John surgery in spring training of 2015, and he wasn't back to himself until 2018.
Right, which was his contract year.
Well, 2019 was a contract. He actually pitched 2 good seasons at the end of the Mets. I'll never get over that one. Fucking Brody Benwagon. Anyway,
I blame the Wilpons.
It's always the Wilpons' fault. That's the same thing.
Brody's
you go back to the
Brody would have given him the contract. I think Brody would have given him the contract if Cohen's in charge. If Cohen's here, Wheeler gets paid.
Probably.
Because then you have your young ace for years to come, and you're not worrying about it. And now you have your one for you.
They make that trade for the Cano Diaz trade, and it's just they just take Cano's contract and get Diaz as a throw-in, and they give up, I don't know, some not Kelnick, who obviously hasn't panned out, but that's nothing to do with the
homer tonight,
value. He did homer tonight, but it has nothing to do with the value that he had at the time. They could have gotten something else for him if they were going to decide to trade him. So we don't have to relitigate that. So coming back from the second Tommy John, I honestly, off the top of my head, it's become so common, Tommy John, that maybe it kind of slips. I can't think of a guy that has come back and been the same guy after 2. I'm sure there's somebody.
How many guys have actually had 2?
It's a decent list.
2 Tommy John surgeries. Pitchers to have had Tommy John. Here you go, Fangraphs. That's a lot better. Jake Buehler.
Okay, so Jake, we're still in the process of coming back. Buehler, same
thing.
Struggling
to come
Buehler,
back.
Extremely struggling right now. Jake, we are now. Jake's is a little. It's a different situation. I don't know Buehler's situation. Jake had the first one when he was 20, and then he had the second one when he was 30. So it's a big. It's almost like 2 separate things. But now Buehler, Buehler's only 24, whatever how old he is now. They couldn't have been that far apart.
Evaldi had 2.
Okay, that's a guy who has come back. I don't know his numbers this year, but he was very good last year in the playoff run for the Rangers. That's okay.
First one was 07, second one was 16. So again, another one big difference.
Again, a big gap.
Big time.
Almost like 2 separate events.
Jameson
where Ohtani's
Talon
were 3 years apart.
Jameson Talon.
Okay.
14 was his first one, 19 was his second.
Not a bad pitcher. That's a solid. It's not an ace. That's not a guy, but that's a solid. This is another kind of separate conversation to have with this. I've always thought So, like, the Mets have a two-way guy in the minors. His name is escaping me at the moment, but he's no longer a two-way guy. He just picked hitting.
They drafted him as a two-way guy, but he said he's going to play the outfield only. They drafted him this year.
Well, they had another guy in their system who was a two-way guy, and he is also just picked hitting. At what point does he have to pick one? Now, Ohtani has a lot of leeway. We know in this situation, he's himself. He's a unicorn. He's whatever. At what point in the situation, like, is it good enough if there's a guy who's, let's say, your 6th place hitter and your 4th starter? If you were to do it both at the same time, that's a pretty friggin' valuable guy. Like, if you get, I don't want to say Quintana, but if you get a little worse than Chris Bassett and Jesse Winker, right? That's a solid player, and you combine them in one. But you would imagine if you focused on one or the other, he could be your 2nd starter or your 4 hitter.
Right.
So at what point does he just say, or in the league, it seems like they're making people pick. He's going to be really the only one that does this. The other thing is, which is a lot of people said, at what point does he just become a closer? Or does he just become, an Andrew Miller type shutdown guy? Because I think that's the most likely outcome to the situation is Ohtani just becomes their closer.
Other guys on this list, by the way. There are more guys on this list.
Okay.
Daniel Hudson.
It's a name.
Was on the Washington World Series team. Closed out the game for Washington.
Very good in that bullpen. I remember that.
Had a breakout season in 11 for the D-backs, but then had surgery in both 12 and 13.
Okay.
And have double back-to-back years Tommy John surgery.
Wow.
Joakim Soria. Good bullpen arm.
Again, reliever, though. But, yes, good bullpen.
Again, big gap. 2003 was the first one. 2012 was his second.
Basically two separate things.
Chris Capuano.
Shout out Chris Capuano. But, again, so 02 and 08. So when the Mets had him.
So these are the guys. These are the guys that they claim on MLB.com were kind of successful and went to have decent careers. Now they have 5 other guys who fell off the face of the planet.
Well,
after 2 surgeries.
Josh Johnson is the first one I think of.
2007 and then 2014.
Right. Chris Medlin, I don't really remember that much. I'm looking at
Chris Medlin, Jared Parker.
These are all guys I don't even. Oh, Brian Wilson, I guess. Closer, Brian Wilson.
I mean, solid closer.
When he was again, so this is also
what? Now that I'm looking at it, the second surgery was the end of his career.
Right. So that was it.
He did at least the 10. I think he closed 2 of the World Series.
I would guess. Let's see. He was on the Giants from 08 to 11. So yeah,
he helped San Francisco win 2010.
And then he got it again. 2012 was when they won the second one. So he wasn't on the second one.
So he was on it, quote unquote.
I guess he was on the team, but he wasn't pitching in the World Series.
Okay. That was Omar Santos highlight.
So it's just
Omar Santos
off Paps,
hits the home run,
off Paps,
and JJ gets Jason Bay to ground out to third.
Fun fact, I think
we own Jonathan Papelbon.
We did own Jonathan Papelbon. The reason JJ Putz was pitching the 9th inning was like Frankie was like in the hospital. Like K-Rod was in the had to go to the hospital or something.
He had the strangest Met career.
I swear to God, I remember like they were gonna bring him in and they didn't, and it was like, yeah, he's on his way to the hospital right now. Okay, whatever you say, brother. That was May. Oh man, JJ Putz. Do you remember? Were you as excited for the JJ Putz K-Rod back of the bullpen as I was? That was gonna be.
I remember waking up to go to school to find out about that move.
The JJ Putz trade.
Right.
Because our bullpen.
I was asleep. That happened in the middle. That like all happened in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Our bullpen had been such an issue in 07 and 08 that was like, we got the guy who has the record for the most saves in the season, and now we traded like Andy Chavez for JJ. You know, it was a package with a bunch of people, but mainly just Andy Chavez.
Right.
You can go. I think they.
I'm getting the trade for you. Don't worry.
I think they might have sent Joe Smith in that one, which looking back was not a great idea. Joe Smith was a good reliever for about a decade.
You would think that he was that young guy that needed to,
he was like the piece.
He was the key. Yeah, he was the key that they were looking for. Alrighty, ready?
It was a 3-team trade, if I remember correctly.
Are we ready for this, Vincent? Are you ready to live in memory?
This is great.
December 11th, 2008. Traded as part of a 3-team by the Mariners with Sean Green and Jeremy Reed.
Okay, so both of those people went to us.
To the Mets. Seattle also sent Louis Valberni to the Indians.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. We sent Mike Carp, Ezequiel Carrera, Andy Chavez, Miguel Cleto, Aaron Howman, and Jason Vargas to the Mariners.
And we
also sent Joe Smith to the Indians, and then they sent Franklin Gutierrez to the Seattle.
4, 5, 6. So we sent 7 people to get okay.
3. So Jeremy Reed ended up being okay.
The other thing, Sean Green. I'm looking at Sean Green.
Sean Green.
Sean Green, who his numbers weren't like fantastic. He was like a middle reliever, and then he came here and stunk.
Sounds about right.
Jeremy Reed, there was that crazy game in.
I don't remember the guy's name, but shout out to the guy, because I was working at an after-school program at the time. Shout out to the parent who I said, how lucky are we that we're signing Cisco Rodriguez? And he goes, he's going to be overhyped, overpaid, and will pitch well enough to be good enough to be a okay Met, but will never be great. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, the guy just had 60-something saves. His arm is dead. He's over. He's done.
There is some truth to what that gentleman said.
Yeah.
I would fight back because they traded for him in 2009, and he pitched until 2017. That guy had a rubber fucking arm. And he pitched till 2017 because he was pretty damn good. So the other part of this problem is, he was 2009, he comes in, leads the league in games finished. Interesting. I don't know why that would be a thing. 3.71 ERA. Pretty, not great. 35 saves, pretty good. Next year, 2.20 ERA, 25 saves. Very good pitcher. Team stunk, but very good. Then he gets traded to the Brewers. He also, unfortunately, was part of we now have Madoff problems.
Correct.
As soon as he gets there, the Madoff problems happen. So
it's his fault. Got it.
Well, no, they had to get rid of the money, I think.
Ideally, what you're saying is if he doesn't come to the Mets, the whole thing doesn't happen. We have all this money still to spend, and we'll be okay.
He was just part. He got traded to the Brewers in 2011, had 0 saves in the second half of the season. Who was closing games for the Brewers in 2011?
You know what the funny thing about
Axford? Wow, that guy was dominant.
You know what the funny part about that trade was? I'll never forget that trade.
They had
Why will I never forget that trade? Because it happened during the Major League Baseball All-Star Game while I was watching Heath Bell run out on the field and then slide from third base to the pitcher's mound, because that was his thing. And everyone thought it was the coolest thing in the world that he would do that when he would slide coming into games. And I'd be like, I don't know why we're hyping up Heath Bell. But then I remembered that he was a Met and we got rid of him, and then he became really good.
I have another question. Why did we get nothing in this trade?
We got cash because of the Madoff issue.
I think that's what it was. The Mets traded by the Mets with cash to the Brewers for Danny Herrera.
We gave them cash.
We had to pay some of the contract.
So basically, we lost money in this trade when we were trying to get money by trading him.
But he was still a very good pitcher, and we got Danny Herrera and Adrian Rosario. I don't think either of them ever. Danny Herrera's
name sound familiar. Oh no, that's Delson Herrera.
Delson Herrera. Danny Herrera pitched 16 games for the New York Mets in
Fun fact: the game
2011.
we went to watch Delson Herrera was also the Spinny Mejia head
Spinny
game.
Mejia Day. Yeah, I saw that. Adrian Rosario never made the major leagues. Doesn't look like.
Yeah, but if you also go and look back at trades that the Mets have made, right? Like, look at the trade that they made. Look at
I hate when they use both Youngs in the same game. I never know which one is which.
like the R.A. Dickey trade, right?
Mm.
What panned out of that one? We got rid of John Buck. He was basically just here filling in he was basically a fill-in spot guy. And if it wasn't for him, Matt Harvey probably would have cried in the dugout because he had his arm around him when Matt Harvey found out he had a Tommy John surgery.
He was a Met because they had to give the Blue Jays a catcher
every
to catch.
single
To catch Dickey.
We
they gave him totally to catch.
And Mike Nikias. You forgot Mike Nikias. Don't
I
ever
love
forget Mike Nikias
I will
as
never
the
forget
extra
Mike
throw-in
Nikias.
player that we had to give them to make sure they had another guy who can catch them.
That's one of those things where there's the NFL trade and you're like, did you really need that seventh? Like, what was the point? Do you really need Mike Nikias? Like, we gave you Toley. I get it. Toley needs to catch. You need somebody to catch.
I remember.
I get it.
I was working the lighting showroom, and the trade is happening, and I'm on Twitter, and I'm talking to Tommy and Danny, and I'm like, "There's a throwing guy," and Tommy's listing all these guys that he's hoping it's not, and then ended up being Mike Nikias, and he's like, "They could have him."
Yeah, they can have Mike Nikias.
You would have thought maybe a prospect, somebody in, let's go.
What they got out of that trade was 3 good seasons in Noah Syndergaard and a season and a half out of Travis Darnell.
If you put it all together after all the injuries, just about.
It probably worked out to about that. Yeah, I mean, he was good in 2014. He was good in 2015, but they were like half season.
Listen, the Travis one, you didn't know what was going to happen. He was always hurt. You didn't know what was going to happen when you let him go. Letting him go was good because he became a headache, and nobody's seen him since he went to the Angels.
Well, okay, I will forever defend that they should not have let go of Travis when they let go of him. When they let go of him, and it's hard to easy to forget. He got hurt. I remember what injury it was. He had a bad elbow or something, whatever. He missed all of spring training, and then they just threw him in the lineup. He didn't go for a rehab stint. He didn't do anything. He was hurt. He didn't play in spring training, and then he just played on the first week of the season. And he stunk. He couldn't get a hit for 3 weeks. He couldn't get a hit. And they cut him, and he went to Tampa, and he started hitting. He's on the Braves now, and he's fine. He's not as good as,
He probably won't be there next year, but yeah.
He's been there. I'm gonna fucking look at Travis.
Been there a long time. He's been there a lot longer than he should be.
Travis's goddamn numbers. He has been on the Braves, I think, since that season. They got rid of him in 2019. No, 2020 he signed with the Braves. He's been roughly league average to slightly below league average hitter. 18, 14 homers. He's fine. He's there. He made an all-star team in 2022. He won a Silver Slugger in 2020. Shout out that. Like, he's been okay. But no, it was never 20. So the best version we had of him was 2015. He was only 67 games, but he hit 12 homers in those 67 games and hit 270, had an 825 OPS. Like, he was good. It's unfortunate. These rabbit holes.
The rabbit holes we go on. Yeah. Happy Jeff gets a hit.
It's good to see Jeff back to a semblance of a person who can play baseball. It really is. Even if he's not,
Well, listen, we got at least another year of him.
I have a question because I was thinking about this. I mean, like I'm sure most of us did. Pretty down in the dumps after the blown save against the Diamondbacks.
Which blown save against them?
The first one, the one.
I didn't pay attention.
Really? You missed all that? It's the West Coast game. It's easy to miss.
Exactly. Some of us have jobs, Vincent.
And that's the other problem is I was annoyed because I stayed awake.
Well, that's your own fault.
They were up 5-4. They went down 4-0. They came back to go up 5-4. They were, I think there was like 2 out, nobody on. Nathan walked the guy. Diaz came in, walked a couple people, gave a grand slam, and they lost the game. And it was awful. And I'm like, to me, that's the point. The season's over. The Braves have won that night. They were 4 games back. It's like over at that point.
Vincent, this season's been over about 75 times.
Exactly. So I sat there. I'm thinking the next day, how many guys?
And Alvarez gets a hit.
Jeff got thrown out at second base, by the way.
Who?
Jeff.
And he's dumb anyway.
How many guys? And again, this was a week ago. But how many guys that are on the team right now playing in the lineup? Can you say 100% sure for sure? I know where they're going to be and what position they're going to be playing next year
in the lineup right now.
The answer is 3 people.
No, the answer is 2 people.
Okay, what are your 2 people?
Lindor.
Okay.
Oh, it is 3 people. Lindor, Marte, and Nimmo. But even Nimmo's not a question mark.
Okay. My 3 people.
Because Gators only got the 1-year contract. Remember that.
Correct.
Okay. Vientos, we don't know. They may say, hey, go play first base. We're not re-signing Pete.
But that's what I'm saying. Exactly what you're saying is what I'm saying. So the actual answer is probably one person. It's Lindor. I don't know if Nimmo is going to be in center or left next year. I know he's going to be on the team and playing in the outfield, right? So I'm counting him. That's 2. And Alvarez is going to be the catcher, for better or for worse. At this point, they're not giving up on him. So the answer is those 3 guys. I have no idea if Marte is going to be on a team or in the lineup or anything. I have no idea.
If Marte's on the team, I'm going to say this out loud. On September 4th, 2024.
Right.
If Marte is on the team next season, okay, I see a scenario where he is the DH. Instead of signing a guy if JD Martinez does not want to come back to the Mets, or if he decides to retire, remember he's up there in age too. If he decides, all right,
if they don't want him back,
or if they don't want him back,
he hasn't
Marte's
been amazing.
On the books.
Good.
You're going to try and move him, but if you can't, he will be your DH next year because it will open up a spot for a guy like Acuna to be on the team next
year. What you're saying, I thought the same exact thing. Now, I don't
want him playing the outfield for 100 and whatever games anymore.
I don't want him playing the outfield.
I don't want his legs to be used that much. That's
correct. But he's not a good enough of a hitter to, in my opinion, be your DH.
Yeah, but you're not going to pay him that kind of money to be a pitch runner.
That's the thing. Is he even on the team? So that's my whole thing.
I can call up Jet Williams and say, "Hey, listen, you're doing nothing, and we're going to pay you nothing, and you're going to just run every time." And in the 9th inning, Vientos is going to get a base hit. We're going to be we're going to be tie game or down and running. You're going to just go out there and just jet around the bases.
Right. So exactly that is what I'm saying. I don't know what Starling Marte will be or where he will be. I don't know what Jeff McNeil will be or where he'll be. I assume he'll be at second base. And Mark Vientos, again, you want to add him to the group. He will be on the team and in the lineup. I don't know where, right? That's 4 guys that I know will be on the roster and in the lineup every day. Outside of that, there's a lot. You go to the rotation, I'm pretty sure David Peterson's going to be on the team at this point. Outside of that,
and Peterson are the only ones that have locked.
Correct. And, Paul Blackburn is, we don't know.
Contract.
He's under contract, and I'd be fine with him as the 5th starter. But you don't know.
Is he the 5th starter or is he the 3 starter? Because remember, Christian Scott wasn't terrible.
I'm not. To me,
he's made enough starts to earn the right to go into spring and say, earn your spot in the rotation in the major leagues.
Oh, I agree. But that's also
that I'll give you.
Now we go into this conversation of, do you want to put a team together or do you want to compete? Because if you're trying to compete for something, David Peterson as your 3rd starter is not. unless he continue. I haven't bought in on the whole David Peterson thing yet. It's taking to take a bit. If he's your third starter, then I don't.
Yeah,
That's not.
but is he? But are you going to pay him like a second starter? That's the problem.
Well, you don't have to pay him yet.
Isn't he due money this year?
I think he's. This is only like his third.
He's 29.
Season. But it's when he came up. He's a college guy, isn't he?
He's got 2 more years of arbitration.
Right. So you have to give him money. You don't have to give him, a lot of money.
You can let him go into arbitration this year. Let the arbitrator decide how much he makes and go, okay, do it again. But
right. He makes $2 million now. Maybe he'll make $6 million this next year. I don't know. It's not going to be. It's
probably a little bit
crazy.
more. Probably a little bit more based on the market.
Say 8.
And all this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Somewhere 8 to 10. But okay. But
sure.
Again, you go do that and you let the arbitrator tell you, and then you say, okay, now do it again, but do it for 6 months instead of.
But that's what I'm saying.
4.5.
Ideally,
do it consistently for 6 months.
You would line him up as he's 4. Blackburn is 5, competing with Christian Scott in they have a bunch of guys in AAA who were supposed to kind of take a next step and haven't.
The one kid who went from Binghamton to Syracuse this year.
Well, now you have Spratt, I think is his name.
Yeah,
Spratt,
something like that. Yeah,
there's a lot again. If you're looking at
Lindor out here killing people,
he kills them.
MVP killing people. Let's go.
What do you do?
Sniper rifling baseballs off pitchers' legs.
Great.
See, another MVP type of move, taking out the opponent.
That guy hurt himself trying to run.
I don't know. I just caught the end of it. It looked like it.
No, he just caught himself trying to run.
We got some Young back on the mound again for another inning.
I believe this is. See, I don't know which one it is. They look pretty similar, and they just. This is the same person to me. I like them both pretty well. Both have pitched pretty well. So I'm just. If there's a guy named Young on the mound, I'm all right with it.
Well, they left lefty in because it was lefty up, and future Met Kelly Jansen is warming up for the Red Sox. Clearly, future Met because he's wearing the OMG shirt.
I did see that. Kenley Jansen.
Talking about a guy who fell off the planet.
To be honest,
the Dodgers are really good at that, getting guys who are like top notch, and then they just fall.
Well, they know when to get rid of people.
Eric Gagne.
That guy. I mean,
that was a show.
So that's one of the. This is something that I don't know if you've seen this TikTok trend. It was like
what a play, and that's why you're an MVP.
This was like 6 months ago. There was a TikTok trend, and it was like a dude saying, "Ladies, ask your man about prime Derrick Rose," and then it was the clip of. Correct. No, prime. You were around. You watch basketball. Prime Derrick Rose was a thing to see. Like I think it was 2010.
Whatever it was.
But whenever he won MVP, he was unbelievable before his knee just completely fell apart. And it's one of those things. So I looked, it was 2010, 2011. I compare that because it all kind of, he had a very long and good NBA career, but it was never the same. Same thing about Gagne. That stretch of like 2000,
a year and a half,
2 or 3, where he just didn't blow a game and he was blowing people away. That was unbelievable.
Again, that was their games were always on so late we didn't see it, but you wake up and went right to Sports Center to
correct.
Like,
did he blow the game?
Scott, let me know. Let me know, bro. Let me know, bro.
Right. They had a whole graphic.
Was he as cool as the other side of the pillow today, or was he not?
Yeah. They had a graphic for his 80 straight, 60, 70 straight fucking saves.
What was the number? Eric Gagne.
Like I said,
Canadian.
Out in my head, maybe it was in the 60s.
First off, he started in 99. He made his debut in 99.
Sure.
He only ended with 187 saves. Isn't that what he did in a row?
I think it was. I would have guessed like 87. It's probably more like 67.
in the All-Star game of 1 year, he gave up a 2-run homer to Alfonso Soriano, just so you know.
I think was that the tie one. I think that might have been the tie. It feels like that was the one that they tied.
They tied, right?
I think I could be wrong.
He also played for the Quebec Capitals, by the way.
He's Canadian, right?
I know.
Yeah.
He was part of the pitching staff for the Canadian team in 2017. Now he coaches the French team. Apparently. Came out on the Mitchell Report. Career highlights. 84.
84. So that guy had 103 saves outside of that streak. That's crazy.
2002 to 2004.
That's crazy.
Most in the season for the National League of 55. Is that it though? Has anybody broken that report?
No. There's no shot.
John Smoltz and him are tied.
Are you kidding me? Smoltzy? Yo, fucking like there's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of guys who do some pretty great at baseball. John Smoltz amazes me at the things he was able to go. He was the best closer in the league, and they went, I think you should be a starter again. And he went, no problem, I'm the ace again. And it was like, what are you doing?
55. Fun fact, 2002 John Smoltz, and then 2003 Eric Gagne. Both had 55.
Smoltz had Tommy John, and I'm guessing 2000 because it's a year he didn't play. And he came back, 10 saves, 55 saves, 45 saves, 44 saves. And then they're like, oh, yeah, starter again, all-star, top 10 Cy Young, top 10 Cy Young.
He underwent Tommy John before the 2000 season. When he was unable to perform effectively as a starter in 2001, he transitioned to the closer, replacing John Rocker.
Yeah.
In his first full season as closer, he set the National League record.
Was unable to perform well as a starter in 2001. He had a 3.3 ERA. What does that mean?
Terrible. He's horrible.
I didn't know he won a Cy Young. He won a Cy Young in 96. I didn't realize he got one in that 24-8, 294, 253 innings. I mean,
Trevor Hoffman's career high was 53.
Okay.
On the 98 team, which makes sense because that
was
the
World
team
Series
lost to the Yankees.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mark Melancon in 51.
Familia had, I think,
51.
But he had a streak of like 50 something. With the 51, he had a streak from the season before that was like 56 or
something. And then Kimball did 50, Brian Wilson 48. A bunch of guys. Benitez and Jason Ingenhauser both had 47 and 04.
Benitez was fucking good, man.
Armando Benitez, the guy who dropped the ball on the plate of Jose Reyes, ran around bases after.
That was a thing to see. And then Delgado hit one to the fucking moon over him. Yo, I can't.
John Franco, 1998, 39 was his career high.
I can't talk about how much the fact that Carlos Delgado was one and done on the Hall of Fame ballot was such a fucking crime. I can't.
We can have a 4-hour podcast about why.
I can talk about Carlos Delgado for the rest of my life. I mean, that guy was such a fucking G.
If you were gonna get a Met jersey right now, customized, like the Piazza I made, it would be Carlos Delgado, 100%.
He's toward the top of the list. Like,
I'm sorry. Please sign Harrison Bader. Fuck everybody else on the team. Just sign Harrison Bader forever.
Well, I said it the other day. He's everything we wanted Juan Lagares to be. He can play center field for me and bat ninth for as long as he wants. Now,
listen, when he bats ninth and gets on base, and then Lindor moves him over, and then Soto comes up batting second, we're gonna have Harrison Bader batting ninth with Nimmo batting eighth next year when Juan Soto is our number 2.
Flipped. The flip side is that Harrison Bader has stayed healthy for the first time in his life as a Met. So we don't have the scars of his injuries that have piled up for the years. But no, he's phenomenal in center. He really hasn't hit much the second half, but
He's not here to hit.
But he's hit enough.
I said
Like,
to
he
my
needs
friend,
to hit a little bit. He needs to not, again, going back to Juan Lagares, who just didn't hit at all.
I said to my coworker, I said the biggest mistake the Yankees made this year was letting Harrison Bader walk and getting the kid from the Red Sox over him. He's been trash, and he does not like him. He's been trash. He has a vibe to him, and he hasn't shown it. I'm like, that's the Yankees because it's the New York Yankees.
He got bad vibes. 100%.
He's supposed to have a good vibe, but he doesn't because he's a New York Yankee. Because he's.
I agree with you in the point that I have been on the train for the last 2 years that they have to get Judge at center. You can't. He's too big. Maybe he's a unicorn. Maybe it's Ohtani. Like that, he can just do that and run the way he does and not get hurt. But I can't have
the problem with getting Judge out of center field is you're still paying Carlos Stanton.
Why? Honestly, that's almost over. I think it's like another 2 years. Now, 2 years is a long time, but it's 2 years is close.
Yeah, but now it's like kind of like if it's only 2 years, then you're kind of looking at that. Can you buy him out at this point? Is it worth buying him out at this point?
I don't know.
Okay, so he has 2 more years under contract plus a club option.
Okay, so he has 2 more years. They're not paying the club option.
So it's 30, but it goes down. It's 32 again next year, and then it's 19, 15, and a $15 million club.
So it's actually 3 more years. 15, 25, 26.
Oh, yeah. It's 3 more years on the contract before the club.
Okay, but as you can see, it's no money. If they essentially have to get through 1 more year, the Yankees should be able to cut him and eat the whatever 19, 15, the other $32 million that he's going to get.
Can they though?
They should be able to. I don't know if they're going to.
Here's the problem.
Should be able to.
Here's the problem. They're about to have Garrett Cole go to free agency. He's got a player option at the end of the year.
I know he does. The Yankee fans
limping off the mound the other day doesn't help that player option.
The Yankee fans have convinced me, or not convinced me, have said for long that he says he won't opt out. I doubt it.
CC wasn't going to opt out either. Opt out of that contract real quick when it came to getting more money.
To me, it just seems like a
no-brainer. But his thing was he walked into the office and said, "I'm going to opt out, but let's get a new contract together. I'm not leaving." That was kind of the CC way.
I feel
like
Garrett
Cole on that same verge. Come on, kid.
Okay. I'm worried.
On. The game is on the line. Literally on the line right now.
I understand the game is on the line. I know I'm like a pitch behind. It's 2 strikes. Why is it the top of the 8th and Adam Ottavino's warming up?
Because you said live on the Sndpodcast, episode 396,
I said
that he's been pitching well.
Inning. I said 6th inning. This exactly what you said. They're off tomorrow. The man hasn't pitched in 2 days. Why is Diaz not warming up?
Because it's a confidence thing with Diaz. You don't want to bring him in. He gives up a hit. Now the game's blown. Now what?
Okay.
Oh. Well, Yoshi's up. That's the problem. We need like Browser to come in and pitch.
Can we do these football picks so we can go to sleep, both of us?
Week 1 is here. Did I send you the meme that said how the rookie for the Niners got shot and how there's a possibility that he plays this year, but Michael Thomas stubbed his toe like 5 years ago and hasn't played since?
Oh, you mean he's playing this week? Fucking
the guy. No, they already said he's probably going to be out this week, but
okay, but
they may take it easy on him because he is a rookie. He got out of it. I didn't see what he did, but he got it.
MLB Live says he lined out to short. It's about to happen on my screen.
There it is. And there it goes. I could do this. This guy could do everything.
Was it like a hard play?
Wait for it.
Oh, he jumped a little bit. He had to jump a little bit.
But this guy could do. This guy could fly. He can hit the ball.
Is my closer? Anyway.
He's the Puerto Rican Superman.
He might be.
Who I'm
he just made that one. He made that one look good. That was pretty easy.
That some Chinese sweatshop somewhere is currently making me a jersey for. and it will kill him. It's literally putting the cursing in him as he's pitching. He's like, oh.
Okay. What do we think? I'm seeing a lot of love for the Ravens this game.
So
The
here's the
Ravens
thing.
are going to be a good team.
Here's the thing. Ravens are going to be a good team. The Chiefs lost to the Lions opening week last year, celebrating the Super Bowl without Travis Kelce. But my coworker and I talked about this today, right? Without Travis Kelce, but the Ravens are arguably a better team defensively than the Lions.
I would say they're better.
So that kind of plays a factor into, are we getting a repeat?
Oh, man. This should be a really fun game. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I think they're not going to let it happen twice in a row, but they could. How have they been on the other opening nights? I think they've been pretty good. They've won 3 Super Bowls now, right? They've had to have started on opening night a few times now.
The Chiefs?
Yeah.
3 Super Bowls, 3 opening nights.
It should be, right? 2022, 2020,
they beat the...
Right. So that's interesting.
February 2020, they beat the Niners, which means the 2020
season. They beat Houston 34-20.
Houston? Why did they put Houston?
Was this a good Houston team? Why? Let me look.
In fairness,
yes, it was Watson. They had beat them in the AFC Championship game. Houston was still good at the time. This was remember that run to the Super Bowl. They were down 24-0 to
Houston, wasn't it?
To Houston. It was to Houston in the championship game. They were down 21-0 to somebody else in the wild card round, and they
went on a run. Right.
Right. They were back in the lead before the end.
Diaz is in the bullpen, by the way, warming up.
Okay, fine, wonderful.
I don't know what he's doing beard wise. He's got mutton chops, and then it's trimmed in the corner here, and then he's got a goatee, and he's English now. He's drinking tea.
Wouldn't push him for an out, but whatever. Kenley, here we go. All right.
I'm gonna go with the Ravens on this one.
Okay.
I think Lamar's just got a lot to prove, and Derrick Henry feels like he's got a lot to prove.
Just won an MVP. Derrick Henry, interestingly, I wish I would have known this before I drafted him. He led the league in carries last year. Only had 1,100 yards. Extremely inefficient for a guy. Now, it was the Titans. They have no quarterback. They have no receivers. So I give him a little bit of a break, but still interesting. We'll see how that comes back this year.
Here we go. It's a good start to the inning when Brendan Nimmo's running down to first base after a walk.
Listen. It's the best.
All day.
I am taking the Packers.
I didn't even realize this game was at night. I was they're probably playing at 3 p.m.
Nope, 8:15. I don't perfect
because the way my Friday night works is that's when I usually wake up for my nap.
Perfect. Brazil, the time zone is I think Central time. Yeah, it's Central time. So it's not
weirder later in the year. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. It's weirder later in the year than it is.
Right.
But, I am gonna take the Packers as well, mainly because fuck the Eagles.
Lot of money and picks going on the Eagles, according to ESPN. That's interesting. I think I don't know. I've seen a lot of people.
Here we go. We won't even need Diaz. We're about to score 20 runs in this inning.
I think a lot of people are on the Eagles train, but I've also seen plenty of people say that they're
a
disaster. The Eagles are one of the most talented rosters in the league, bar none.
100%.
But I can't explain.
I think Saquon made his words when he says it could match the 07 Patriots. But hey, listen.
He said that?
He said it could be the best of all time. And in my opinion, the 07 Patriots is.
He said the best of all time? Did he say Dream Team?
He basically said it's the best.
I wish you would have said Dream Team because that was absolute chaos after Vince Young said dream team. The backup quarterback said dream team, and then they fell the fuck apart.
There was an interesting twisted T question on Busting with the Boys.
Okay.
I was listening because Peyton's on this week.
Okay.
Well, I did listen. Peyton was great.
As always.
Actually, I think I still have half of it left. Anyway. Interesting. Peyton on there. Kurt Warner on the guy from The Office's show.
Baumgartner.
Yeah.
Got it.
There's a couple other ones that I still have in my queue too. Oh, Adam Sandler's on New Heights.
On New Heights, yes. Did see those clips going around. Didn't.
And Hulk Hogan is on the Logan Paul podcast.
He didn't say anything stupid, but I saw a clip where he was using wrestling terms like work and shoot, and Logan was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, because he said nobody talks about that stuff anymore.
Like, I guess they don't really talk about it. That's not really, it's all just one big work at this point. Like, they're like the Twitter and everything is just a big work. So but again,
I'm gonna listen to it. He has good.
I hate Hulk Hogan. He's a dick, and I'm not.
They have good episodes when it comes to wrestlers being on it. The other guys I just don't listen to.
I want to go back and listen to the one he did with Cena. The clips I saw from it were very good. Cena was on Shannon Sharp's podcast. If you have a minute, that's a good one.
About how he got a fake Lamborghini and he turned it into a Lamborghini.
Correct.
And he
but
drove
the
for
rest
like
of
4 days.
Yes, but the rest of the show is very good. I liked Shannon Sharp's interview style a lot. I might go back and watch some more of his stuff. Anyway,
I am going to pull out a clip that I usually throw our YouTube clips onto Opus clip and let them find shit for us and see if we want to post it. It's like a website app, lets you pull video clips to post on social media, right? With captions and things like that.
Sure.
I hope they pull this. Kyle Pitts is going to go down as a bust. Okay. Okay. Listen, He's had a terrible camp. They're saying he had a horrible camp.
Okay.
He was basically Bart Simpson eating Butterfingers, is what they were saying all throughout camp.
Okay.
I know someone who drafted him in multiple leagues, who I literally said, mark my words, you're going to regret it. Announced today he's limited with a strained hamstring. It's already started. And Kirk Cousins is known for getting his tight ends involved.
This is right. So this is it. He probably gets more than just this season with Kirk.
Yeah, Pete, you break that bat. You haven't hit in 6 months anyway. Thank God you want $50 million a year.
But this is it. Yeah, it's all the excuses were off of him. It's now on him. He's got to do something.
You didn't even break the bat good. Jesus Christ.
To go with that, I am taking the Falcons in that.
I hate both these teams. Like
these
teams are either going to be really good or really bad. Both of them.
No, the Steelers will not be really good.
Take that back. As long as Mike Tomlin is the head coach of that team, they are a 7th seed forever in the AFC.
That's not really good. That's 9 wins.
Better than other teams. I'd rather just get in. Listen, they're going to get in. They're going to go to Kansas City. Watt's going to sack Mahomes. Dynasty over. Boom. There we go.
You would think at some point, Pat, there has to be a season where like Pat gets hurt and shit just opens up, right? I don't think I hope it's for the sake of the league, I hope not, because he's great to watch. But at some point, it's got to happen.
He's just got to like get old, right?
Well, I mean, he's like 27.
He's gonna like age out eventually, right?
At some point. Anyway, I'm taking
Peyton. By the way, said on his. Oh, we'll talk about that when he gets back. When we get to that episode, when we get to the Broncos, I am going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road because Mike Tomlin and also TJ is just amazing.
He is. I'm taking the Bills in the next game.
Give me the Bills. That's a bit 6.5, but the Cardinals going East Coast.
That's another. The Cardinals are another one that I've seen multiple quote unquote talking heads pick them to make the playoffs. I don't see it. I just
win
don't
this
see it.
week, and then we can have the conversation. Then we can start at least have a be like, can they keep it going conversation?
I just don't see it.
Bears at home all day. Give me that number 1 overall pick and that number whatever it was picked.
I think he was 9, but yeah, I'm also taking the Bears.
Like the Titans have a shot of a first overall pick next year.
It's possible.
Cincy all day. I don't even care who the wide receiver is. I'll go play wide receiver in Jamar Chase's jersey just to make it look like he's out there. I don't give a shit. Cincy all day.
Interesting.
Who's the starting quarterback in New England? Oh, Brissett. They said Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett, yes. I know it's on the road and divisional game, but the Texans only giving 1.5.
Remember when Richardson was in, that offense was electric.
I know, but it's not. I think they're just clearly better. I mean, I think the Colts were like a 500 team last year.
Sounds about right.
To me, I'm taking the Texans. That's when we look at these things, I look at the games I might actually like physically bet money wise. Texans are on the list at the moment.
Finished 9-8 and second in the division.
Yeah, and that's with Minshew, right?
With Gunnar Minshew.
I don't know about that one.
When did Richardson get hurt?
Like week 5. It was very early.
He made 4 starts.
Yeah.
He went 2-2. He made 4 starts.
So week 4 he got hurt.
So week 4, they're home against the Rams. They were 2-2 in those games, including beating Baltimore and Houston, both on the road.
Interesting. Okay.
So just to put that into perspective. But yeah, I have the Texans win the division. Got to start with the division wins, right? Dolphins all day. Dolphins at home to start the season all day.
Florida matchup. Dolphins. Yeah, it's good weather. Not a physical team that they're playing. This is where they thrive.
I don't even know who's the cornerback in Jacksonville.
Couldn't tell you.
A matchup of terrible teams.
It's another one I think. No. I'm going to stick with the home team in this game.
I'm going to go road team. I think Carolina's going to have a better season than people expect them to have.
I don't. I think that guy stinks. But we'll see.
Sam Darnold see ghosts. Darnold seeing ghosts.
Taking the Giants, man. I really think the Vikings
100th anniversary. All the players are going to be there.
Like the Vikings did a little bit of damage last year with like Josh Dobbs and frigging random guys.
Yeah, but that was also without Justin Jefferson too. Remember those?
There was a lot of it without Justin Jefferson. You're right.
But is Addison playing this week or is he in jail? Like, what's his deal this week?
I think he's playing.
Like Aaron Jones is trash, right? That's why you let him go.
No, he's definitely not trash. But he's going to get hurt at some point. He's healthy for week 1, but he's probably going to get hurt at some point. It's just the way things go.
We're going to take all the momentum from winning week 1. Just move forward. Just keep going. Harbaugh 1-0. Can't go against my coach.
Oh, man. Do I want to, though? Yo, Rich Hill's warming up, brother.
Let's go.
Fucking love Rich Hill.
That's because Manson can't find the plate.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers.
Get through. Oh.
They turned over play?
No. But even the umpires, I don't know how close it was. Oh, that came really close to hitting Nemo in the knees and foul territory.
Oh, it's foul.
Even the umpire is like, whoa.
Got it.
Even the umpire went, wow. Come on, let's get a Taylor grand slam. Or a walk, that's fine.
Tyrone Taylor has a grand slam on the season. It was off of Luis Guillorme. So, not sure that counts.
It doesn't count.
It counts in the numbers.
Come on, walk us in a run. Walk us in a run. Walk us in a run.
Thank you, Kenley.
Beauty. He didn't go, you dumbass. All right, I don't know who's batting
Oh,
after Taylor, but whoever that is, now you got bases loaded with one out,
it
and you get to face
is
Rich Hill. So just know the
because
pitch is going to be really
because it's
slow.
Jeff, so they're bringing in a lefty to face him.
What's worse, Jeff at bat with the pressure on, or Rich Hill pitching?
I mean, the fact that Rich Hill's still pitching I love it. It's one of my favorite things.
We should pitch it for Jeff McNeil here, just to throw him off.
Who are we gonna pinch hit? I don't fucking know.
Anybody like, right-handed. What's DJ Stewart's lefty? That's right.
He is lefty. Yeah. Unbelievable. Okay, come on, we can wrap this up.
All right. So Broncos. I was mentioning this before on the Bustin'
for it.
podcast. Payton said it the best. He wants Sean Payton to not let Bo Nix sit on the bench at all. He said he spoke to him about it, and he said, "I don't care how badly this guy struggles. Look at what I did my rookie year, and now look at me."
I hear you, but I feel like that's become just the trope for everybody who struggles year one. It's like, oh.
However, he made a good point. If you're struggling in year one, you're still getting pulled.
Yeah,
nowadays they try and baby guys.
Yeah, nobody gets the full.
Well, he also was trying to figure out why his single season rookie interception record could never be broken, and these guys are playing an extra game.
Yeah.
So he then goes, it's probably because they all sit on the bench when they start struggling.
They get yanked, yeah.
So give me Seattle.
Seattle. I'm basically taking a lot of favorites.
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks.
That's going to be a good game, the 4:00 game.
It's a tough game. I think Cleveland and
a lot of running the ball, a lot of defense.
I don't trust a team that has Xavier Elliott and Dalvin Cook as their running backs.
That could be interesting. I'm taking them, though.
Especially since one of them is probably going to end up at center at some point in the game.
I'm taking all favorites. Bucks
for now, but it's going to be closer than people think. I think they'll cover, but barely cover. It'll be like a 6-point game.
I
like Washington's offense. Their defense not as much.
Too. I like the Rams. I think they're going to cover in this game.
Fuck the Rams. Let's go Lions. Raising the banner. Putting up the banner. Honoring Matt Stafford pregame. During introductions, they announced. Because the only other time he's played there is in a playoff game, so they didn't do it. Correct. Which is fair. 100%. Yeah.
You weren't going to honor him in a playoff game.
Niners all day.
Oh, yeah. Definitely the Niners.
Let's see here. What does it say the over-under is in this game? 44.5.
I said 40. I think it's going to be low scoring. There's a lot of Rodgers hasn't played in the preseason. He's not really good week one. The Niners have had their issues with week one with Trent Williams and Ayuk. And
they're all there now. Everybody's on board.
They're there, but nobody's been there the whole time. Nobody's going to be in sync in this game.
When did Rich Hill become a sidearm pitcher?
Since he went to the bullpen, and he thinks that's one of the things he just does. He thinks
changes the way he does
correct.
Things.
Yeah, he just thinks he's funny, but he can't find the plate for God's sakes. But
the plate's a little bit more. I don't know what league you were in, but the plate's a little bit more.
I don't know where you were pitching, my man, but the plate's been in the same spot for the past 30 years that you've been going.
I'm gonna say 48 points.
You walked them.
48 points.
Rich Hill, my guy. I love it.
Why did Iglesias went back to third? He was like, did he really just do that?
It wasn't even close. I'm going to pull up.
What is Cora waving at? Like, hey, let's see what actually happened.
I don't know, but none of those pitches were close. Shout out Rich Hill, man.
Poor Diaz is just like, so am I pitching the 9?
That's the other thing is he got out of a rhythm because this just keeps happening to him. They either blow people out or they're just getting killed. He needs to come in this game regardless. They're off tomorrow. I don't care.
Listen, with the way Rich Hill's pitching, Alvarez, get your knees out of the way. He's about to hit him.
Just warm up.
Jesus Christ, guy.
It's 6 in a row. Oh, man.
Wow.
Okay.
Remember when we were about to sign Rich Hill?
Rich Hill pitched for the Mets at one point, and he wasn't horrible.
Hey, he got one over. Hey, Rich Hill. All right, with that being said, enjoy the football this week, everybody. And we will see you guys next week.